Now, defence, of course, is an absolutely vital issue, perhaps more vital now, potentially, than it's been for many, many decades, given what is going on in the world. And yet, there was no money for defence in the budget at all. No money whatsoever. No increases at all. Christopher Hope asked the Chancellor this morning why that was.
We will need to spend more on defence. The world is a very volatile and dangerous place. Britain has a very special global vocation alongside America. We're one of the two countries that have done more than anyone else to maintain peace and security since the Second World War.
2.5% GDP is your
We've said that we want to increase it to 2.5% of GDP as soon as it's economically possible to do so. But there's a lot of things we have to work out, in particular what we would spend any extra money on. If you look at the war in Ukraine, you can see that drones have become incredibly important. So we need to do that. We need to reform our defence procurement, which is not working in the way it does. But we recognise that this is a world in which we're going to spend more on defence.
We need to spend more on defence. We will spend more on defence, but not just now. And by the way, he's not wrong about procurement. There's a strong argument to say take that out of the MOD because it's not been working. But a little hint there, wasn't there, about drones, the importance of drones in Ukraine. Because at 6 o'clock, a press release came out. Remember, not a penny more for our defence budget. But at 6 o'clock, we learnt that another 125 million is to be given to Ukraine in the form of drones. We're going to supply now 10,000 drones to Ukraine as part of an overall £325 million package. So we're quite happy to spend money and give weapons to Ukraine. We're quite happy to chuck £1 million at a totally unnecessary, divisive Muslim memorial to those who died in 2 world wars. Not a penny for British defence. No wonder that retired top brass are really very, very concerned and worried. And I can tell you that I know 1 or 2 people in America with a little bit of power, and they're really worried. Is the United Kingdom now a serious partner and player in this area? And somehow, defence has been relegated down the political list of priorities. Well, joining me to talk about this is Pete Sandyman, Naval Analyst and Director of the website Navy Lookout. Pete, some may say I'm making a cheap point, but when we chuck 325 million in the form of drones to Ukraine, but can't increase our own defence budget by a penny, I do think it's right we ask a question.
Yes, I certainly think money given to Ukraine is not wasted. In one sense, they are fighting a war that we ourselves might one day have to fight. So it's not money wasted. The trouble is the government is spinning money given to defence as an increase in the defence budget. I'm sure everyone's very well aware of the very poor state of UK defence generally. We do have problems with procurement, as you say. We have a real manpower crisis. We have lots of platforms that are far too old, and we're having to throw good money after bad to keep them going. So there are lots of issues that unfortunately can only be resolved by further funding, and fairly urgently as well. Mr. Hunt talks about sometime vaguely in the future, but defence has a long tail. It takes a long time to build a warship. It's a 10, 20-year project. These things can't be solved overnight. So we need to act urgently.
Do you think, Pete, looking back on it, and I know the Navy is your speciality, do you think the 8 billion quid we spent on those 2 great big aircraft carriers, was that actually a mistake?
I don't know. I think they're a really important strategic asset. The problem is we haven't spent enough on them. We haven't invested in enough aircraft, supporting weapons, escort vessels, all the other things that you need to make this capability function as a real, genuine deterrent and a strategic advantage that it potentially could be. They're certainly not a waste. We are a maritime nation. Our Navy is our most important first line of defence, and is able to, the carriers can project power. They can defend us closer to home as one of our aircraft carriers is off Norway at the moment, exercising, defending our northern flank against the Russian threat. So they are very important and have lots of strategic value.
Okay. No, fair enough. I'm pleased to hear that. And I understand that naval recruitment is now at a genuine crisis point. People are not sure whether it's worth joining something that is in decline.
That may be part of it. So there's lots of problems. Part of it is internal processes that you've got actually no shortage of applicants at the moment, but we're not processing them effectively, and we're losing kids who want to join up, and then they're waiting for a year or more and they lose interest. That's simply down to bad internal management, and it's even worse in the case of the Army. Part of it is to do with private service providers such as Capita not doing their job properly. Some of it is to do with the offer itself in terms of the married quarters, the accommodation that is available to service personnel is not up to scratch. There's a whole variety of issues that impact recruitment, but it needs to be gripped again as a matter of urgency, because there is no Navy, there is no Army without people. First and foremost, more than shiny new kit, getting the people issue sorted should be our priority.
Now, I've covered the Capita point in relation to the Army just a few weeks ago. I'm astonished at the sheer amount of money we're giving Capita to do this job. And it seems to me, wouldn't there be an argument that recruitment should be brought back within the three services?
I would say so. The Navy does have a mix of its own recruitment and some outsource. So it's a kind of mix and match situation for the Navy, whereas the Army relies mostly on Capita. But in the future, there's a plan to have a one-size-fits-all, all privatised recruitment service, which is, I believe there have been so many problems with it, it's been delayed for 2 or 3 years. But that is not helping matters, and is not helping the morale of people involved in recruiting either.
In a sentence, if I can, Pete, in a sentence, sum up how you feel about the budget from a defence perspective. Disappointed and slightly concerned about our future. Put very succinctly. Pete Sanderman, thank you very much indeed for